Welcome to the Holistic Soul Sisters Radio, a channel created to help you heal holistically and grow spiritually. I'm your host, Mandy Rose. I'm not afraid to talk about taboo subjects, so nothing is off limits here. Make sure you hit subscribe and get ready to learn more from me and other experts on all things health, spirituality, astrology, lifestyle, relationships, and so much more. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's begin. Hello, my Holistic Soul Sisters. I am back with another episode on the Holistic Soul Sister Radio channel. And this is where we can talk about taboo subjects. And we just finished up our mini series, Energetic Healing. Did you guys like it? Did you enjoy it? If there was any episodes that resonated with you, would you please screenshot them and share them with me over on Instagram? Let me know which one impacted you, if it was the past life regression or law of attraction, or you learned something about sound healing or light healing. I really loved doing that mini series because so many of you are interested and curious on how I do the energetic part of healing my physical body. So it was a joy to do. I love the guests that we had on. I hope you loved it too. And then that led me into, where do we go next on this podcast? Should I talk about plant medicine? Should I talk more about astrology? Should I talk about health and healing? Or something else completely random? So I just left it open the last couple weeks. And then all of a sudden, just like always, divine intervention comes along and guides me on what I need to share with you guys. And if you follow me over on Instagram on my personal page, mandy.rose1111, I did a story the other day about how I was so fired up to learn that now astrology, spirituality, tarot, those kind of things are going to start being censored on social media. And I'm trying really hard to be calm and cool and collected in this podcast, but this is something that's really been firing me up. And it's been lighting that spark inside of my soul saying, you need to speak out. You need to do something about this, because this isn't just about censoring astrology. This is about so much more. And the challenge is being so careful with your words, being careful what you say, being careful what you post. And that can feel like you're out of alignment with your truth. And through this entire pandemic, everything that's been going on in the last 2 years, I know that I've had a lot of difficult conversations with people about getting the shot, difficult conversations with people about their health or what they should do, about their jobs, like so many very challenging conversations. But yet I have not really spoken my truth on a public platform. And a lot of that was because of censorship and fear of being banned, or fear of people taking the words I say and misconstruing them, or taking them out of context, or assuming I'm saying something that I'm not actually saying. Because a lot of times when we are convicted in our truth, or it's something that has to do with a seriousness like our health and decisions around our livelihoods, it's hard for us to hear the other side. It's hard for us to understand someone else's opinion, especially if that opinion is so different from our own. And so I didn't want to challenge that. I let everyone be who they are, be free. You have the freedom of choice, the freedom of decision. It's your body, your life. You do you. But in return, I wanted that same respect from people. And so I didn't talk about it a lot. And in this podcast, it finally dawned on me after the censorship conversation with astrology. I was like, it's time for me to speak my truth. It's time for me to be uncensored, share with you guys my opinion. That's why these episodes on Holistic Soul Sister Radio are titled IMO. These episodes are called In My Opinion. They are strictly my opinion. And if you know me and you understand me, you know that my opinions come from facts. I'm a Virgo, which means I'm grounded. I love the facts. I love the details. I have to know everything about everything. I'm a Scorpio rising, so Scorpios are investigative. They are great detectives. They really want to go way down into the rabbit hole and uncover the hidden truth, reveal the secrets. And that's who I am. That is at my core. And so anytime I come to a conclusion, whether it be about health and healing, whether it be about the media or news or information, I want to know the facts, the science, the research, the data behind it. So in this podcast episode, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, remember, things are being censored left and right. People are being banned on social media for saying the wrong thing that doesn't line up with the narrative that they want you, they being the people above all of us to know. So I'm going to still be a little cautious about what I say. And because of that, I have decided that I am going to do a Zoom meeting. For anyone that is interested that wants to hear this content that I'm going to literally just tippy toe into in a more in-depth, where I can be raw, unfiltered, uncensored, like bring you all the information, all the data, all the truth, like that is what I'm going to do on a private scale. And that's going to be on Zoom. So if you are interested in participating in that and showing up and learning and hearing and growing, I will send you that Zoom link. So how you're going to have to get that link is you're going to have to find me either on Facebook. If you are a part of our Holistic Soul Sister community, I will be posting the link in there. So if you're a part of the community, just be on the lookout for that. If you are on Instagram, you're going to have to send me a DM. I am not posting this Zoom link public, again, because of the censorship and so many things going on. So you're going to have to get it directly from me. So with that all being said, stay tuned. I will announce that. Today is 2/22/2022. As I sit here and record this, it will go live. This podcast will go live today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time editing it. Usually I edit my podcasts so they're like perfect, crisp, to the point. But I'm not doing that for this one. Like I am so done being censored. I'm done being, perfectionistic. I just need to get you this information. So I'm recording it, minor detail editing, throwing it up. So if you are hearing it today on 2/22, yay, love today. If you're hearing it afterwards, I will be posting that Zoom information. So hopefully you caught this podcast before that Zoom happened, and it will happen before the end of February. Okay. Now let's dive into this episode. Everything censorship. I'm going to talk about the astrology and how this astrology is actually tying in to all the social events that are happening, all the things you're hearing about in the media. The astrology is lining up. It's showing us the way. It's telling us this is happening. So I'm going to give you a little guidance on that. And then we're going to wrap up with what I think at this moment in time is the most important topic to focus on, and the crisis that's really in front of our eyes that we're not paying attention to. And that is our healthcare crisis. So let's start out with censorship. Whew. Okay, here we go. So last week I was scrolling TikTok on YouTube. You guys know I have a YouTube channel. I do the podcast. I have an Instagram. Actually, I have a couple Instagrams. I'm now on TikTok at The Relational Astrologer. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, I started a channel there. I do the YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I do all the social media platforms. And because I do all the platforms, I'm learning which platforms you can say certain things, which ones you can push boundaries on, which one is more receptive to learning about the taboo topics that I talk about: spirituality, energetic healing, holistic medicine, healing our bodies, astrology, all the things, right? And so I learned last week that TikTok, which recently has been very forward in allowing people to be free, speak what they want. I mean, people talk about conspiracy theories. I've seen people literally teach people on how to reverse different health illnesses. Like there's a lot of content on TikTok that I was like really excited for, that it was being shared. Until last week, they said that as of March 17th, they will be taking astrology, spirituality, and tarot off the algorithm. So using the hashtags won't matter. If you're searching this kind of content, you won't find it. So essentially, if you are a content creator or someone who provides healing in a spiritual way, you're not going to be able to grow your business. You're not going to be able to get out there and help more people. And this really ticked me off. And not from like a financial business perspective, but this is a service, a gift I was given by God that I have to help people heal physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever, right? And there's many, many people that have these gifts. And now they can't share that gift with the world. Why? Because someone said that it's misinformation? Well, here's a fun fact. You guys know the USDA guidelines for the food pyramid. We all learn the food pyramid, right, when we're children in school. And on that food pyramid, at the bottom of the pyramid, the biggest section of the pyramid is carbohydrates, right? And the top of the pyramid, the little peak, is like the sweets and treats that you should only have once in a while. That's what the government says is advisable for a healthy diet. So essentially, if someone is promoting keto, right? If you're a health coach and you're promoting keto, which is fat-based, no carbs or limited amount of carbs, You are not following the USDA's guideline for recommended nutrition. And therefore, as a keto coach, you are spreading false information, misinformation, and you can be taken off social media. Do you guys see the problem with this? For one person, the general food pyramid may work. But for another person who's healing or going through things or their metabolism is different, keto might be the answer for them. So who's to say that one is misinformation and the other is not, right? So going back to spirituality, same thing. Someone may follow a specific religion or belief system, and that is true for them. And nobody denies that. But now you're saying that tarot and astrology and all these things may be misinformation. So we're not even noticing these kind of things are happening. This is what I want to highlight today in this podcast is you're not even noticing that this is happening, especially if you're not in a career or in a job that offers services that are considered taboo or outside of the box or not a part of like our modern day narrative of what's like acceptable and okay. So most people don't even realize that censorship is happening. And we live in a free country. So how and why are we being censored, right? And usually they say censorship happens because it's to protect the common good, it's to protect people. But I can't quite understand how restricting people from talking about herbs and plants and healing is harming people. So, yes, I know that there is the opposite side of the coin of saying, well, some people are going to go out and they're going to listen to this information and they're going to follow it and they could get hurt or they could, something bad could happen. Very true. I do acknowledge that completely. However, I like to believe that as human beings, we are all actually intelligent enough to know what is best for us. Unless we're, dealing with some health issues, mental health issues, then in that case, I understand. But majority of us know what is good for us, know what works for us, and we trust our bodies. And also, something interesting is when, we're all told we should go to college or finish your high school education, right? What do they teach you in high school and college education is critical thinking, researching, analyzing information, write a paper, and share your opinion, right? Everyone's entitled to have their own opinion from the facts that are gathered. So this is where I don't understand where you can get on social media, gather all the facts, and then make a personal decision. But they're saying you're actually not smart enough to make your own decision, so we're going to help you by not giving you misinformation, which just translates to me as manipulation, brainwashing, telling you what to believe, right? So what we don't know is that the media is actually owned by major companies. Did you know that? When you turn on Fox News or CNN or ABC, those are not owned by the public. Those are private companies owned typically by major shareholders in pharmaceutical companies, just major corporations. So the media is not unbiased. They all have their own perspective, opinion, belief system that they want their viewers to adhere to. Did you know that in Europe, you are not allowed to have advertisements or commercials for pharmaceuticals at all? You watch German television and the commercials come on, there are no pharmaceutical commercials because that's not okay, right? It's your doctor that should be sharing with you what you need, not you going to your doctor and asking them what you need, right? So again, think of it this way. News reporters cannot report on whatever they want. They are given an assignment. They are given something that they need to go investigate. They need to research. They need to show up. They need to report on. They don't get to share what they want. It is all programmed. It is all calculated. It's all determined to give the people a certain bias, a certain amount of information, right? You watch CNN, you get a certain perspective. You watch Fox News, you get a certain perspective, so on through all the media channels. And that's because as humans, we can't help but be biased, right? We just can't. As individuals, we all have our own unique belief systems, thoughts, behaviors, like things that have molded us into who we are, and we just carry our belief system and our opinion and our bias into the world. So when you take that and you magnetize that and increase that in a global scale of media, that's where it becomes out of control. So, we go back now to this pandemic and everything that happened. And you look at what they were projecting to us. And a lot of news is fear based. You don't watch the news and see, all these amazing news stories of, oh, this nonprofit did this and this happened in our community. Yes, there are blips and pockets of happy news stories, but most of the news is fear based. And I don't want to say lies. I just want to say it's fear based. It's inducing an emotional and a chemical response in you when you watch the news. And this has been something really, really challenging for me as someone who is very aware of energy, watching what I consume, watching who I talk to, observing my own physical energy, not allowing my nervous system to get on overdrive. I have a history of anxiety, really, really bad anxiety. And so now I know those warning signs and the symptoms of, oh my gosh, my nervous system is getting a little crazy. I need to detach from this person, this situation, this news article. Becoming aware of that, right? So then when I see people that I care about, that I love, watching the news every single day and living in fear, it breaks my heart. It literally breaks my heart because you don't realize what they're sharing, what they're telling you is meant to induce fear. And you're taking it all in energetically, all of it. And not just the words, but the feelings, the emotions, the then changes your behaviors and your thought patterns and determines how you live your life. Like, it's major. It's way deeper than you can even fathom, right? And yes, it is very important for us to be aware of the news. It's very important for us to be aware of world events and what's going on and understanding, the things in your community. I'm not saying don't watch the news. I'm not saying don't read news articles. We must be aware. It's very important. But be aware of where you're getting it from. Be aware of how long you're listening and how much you're letting it affect you. Are you listening to it unbiased and going, okay, got the details, gonna do with it what I want? Or are you listening to it like it's Bible? Like everything that's being said must 100% be true. Because remember, it's still an opinion, it's still a bias, it's still a perspective. Turn to a different news channel and you'll get a different story of the same story. And that comes for me, the blessing for me is that I grew up in Europe. So I can understand the news in German. And when I listen to a news story in German, and then I listen to about the same topic in the American news, you're getting two different opinions. You're getting two different perspectives. What they say in German and to the German people is very much more detailed, data driven. Here's the facts we need to know. And then in America, it's a lot more emotional. Like, oh my gosh, these people, and this is so sad. And they use words that are very emotionally tying. So I see the difference. I see the perspective. And to anyone who can understand another language and has read or listened to the news in another language, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, what's been happening now in society since the pandemic and everything that's been happening, they were really pumping us full of a lot of fear. And the fear was coming out of the data we had at the time. This many people were dying. This is going on. This is all the stuff that's happening. But now we're learning that everything that was told to us may not have been the whole truth. And that's no one's fault because we didn't know what we didn't know at the beginning of this pandemic, right? Time told the truth. More information told the truth. We discovered things along the way. So, no, what we were told at the beginning when we were wiping down all our groceries and not seeing anyone in our family, that was what we needed at the time. But what happened is we were not given the opportunity to grow in that information, to learn the updates, to learn more information. The narrative from the media stuck with the first thing that we ever knew. Now, fast forward 2 years later, we're learning a lot of things that were told to us that weren't necessarily true. And I'm going to talk so much more about that on the Zoom because I can't hear. I just can't. There's no way for you to hear that part of it and this podcast not to be taken down. So, yes, there's a lot going on. So, what's been happening is people have been watching less news, right? How many people canceled cable? And especially in our younger generation, I would say people under 35, especially, don't really wake up in the morning and watch the news. right? People don't sit around in the evening with their family and watch the news anymore. Like that's a very much our parents and grandparents generation type thing. So less people watch the news. So the media and people above us have less control over what we think, what we believe, what we know, right? Less control because we're watching less of it. And we're making our own decisions based on what we see in our reality, in our neighborhoods, around us, and not necessarily based on what they're telling us is happening in a state, country, whatever, that's not relevant to our everyday lives. So less people watch the news, they have less control because people are taking that time and getting information from social media, right? I don't watch the news, but I scroll my social media in the morning. So that's where people are. People are spending their time on social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, instead of watching the news. Now that's a problem for them because now they have to go to the social media people, the people who run the social media outlets, people who are in control of what's being posted and what's not being posted, and convince them to stop allowing certain information that would never be allowed on the news. Right? Do you watch your 5 o'clock news and they're talking about, oh, I went to an herbal store today and made a tea that's going to help my liver. Everyone needs to know about this. It's going to help heal everybody. No, they don't share with that. They don't share that with you on the news, but you can find that information on social media and they're not liking that, right? Look at what's being censored, what's being taken away from us. Information about holistic health, holistic medicine, natural remedies that have been around for centuries that are used primarily in other countries. Nope, misinformation. You can't know that. Oh, information on astrology. Astrology is ancient. It's a spirituality. It's a religion that has been around forever, thousands of years. But nope, that has to be misinformation now in 2022. Mediums, tarot readers, energy healers, also something that's been around forever. And whether that medium is faking it or not, I know there's so many arguments about that. Whether they are or are not is irrelevant. It's all about the person receiving the message to decipher if the message is true for them or not. That medium may be completely full of crap, but if it changes the person listening to the message, isn't that all that matters? It's like the placebo effect, right? If you take a supplement and the supplement is just like cornmeal and you think it's going to heal you and you get healed, what does it matter? Right? So, okay, going back to this. Sorry, I know that I did not really have a major plan for this episode. I just needed to put all my thoughts out there and to share with you and just give you a perspective because I've been just holding my tongue for so long. All right, so now this is where we're seeing the social media outlets being monitored, being censored, people being banned, people being kicked off. I've seen amazing doctors, amazing healers, people with so much knowledge and information. They went to college, they got their PhD, they have a private practice, they've been in practice for 20 some years, healing people, doing amazing things, being kicked off of Instagram for spreading misinformation. If they have a practice and they have their PhD and they have done all the licensure and everything they needed to get there, meaning they are intelligent, they know how to research, they know about pharmaceuticals, they know about people, they know how to heal, how are they being kicked off of social media? I cannot understand that, right? This is where you have to come up with your own conclusion of what's going on here. Why are they being censored, right? What's going on? And then you look at the Joe Rogan podcast. This is a really hot topic. If you don't know about it, like this is a big deal. And I'm going to talk more about that on the Zoom, but this is a private citizen with a podcast, interviewing experts, interviewing people who are sharing their opinion. Everyone should have their opinion, right? Private citizen who is being banned by the White House. You have the government trying to censor a private citizen. That's not really what our country is founded on, right? And we're going to get into that in just a moment. So, really, what's happening now is that these people who have taboo subjects, who have businesses helping people that's outside of the mainstream normal way of doing things, are going to have to find a different way to share and pass this information. One of them is going to be in-person events. So if you are someone that is looking to heal yourself, looking for this information, and you cannot find it on social media, I promise you, these practitioners, these healers, these people are going to be out in your community holding in-person events. So look for them, search them, talk to people. Don't be afraid, because in-person community, in-person information passing has been around for centuries, as long as people have ever existed, right? I mean, people would go on horse from one colony to another way back in the wild, wild west to pass on information. There would be like a shaman or a guru in Nepal, and people would travel the world to go find this healer, to go find the sacred doctor that could heal them. This has always been the way. So it's not going away. They're not going to be able to stop people from healing or doing the work of astrology or tarot or whatever is censored. It's going to still be there. It's just going to be more in-person events. And then also there's going to be other social media platforms that pop up, right? Or there's going to be private communities. So right now I think there's a couple different websites, Patreon, Kajabi. I mean, there's different platforms where these creators and healers and information educators can create their own community to share their own information, and that's not on social media. However, the problem lies, they're going to have to charge. You're going to have to start paying to get astrology information. You're going to have to start paying for every tarot reader, because it can't be for free on social media anymore. You're not going to be able to get free information on holistic medicine or how to heal yourself. You're not. Because these people, these healers, are going to have to find ways to share this information and still be supported energetically and financially. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. And I suggest right now, like, if you have a content creator, an astrologer, a medium, a healer, somebody that you really, really value, get on their email list. Get on their email list, follow them, connect with them, because they may be pushed off of your favorite social media platforms. So as we move now into the astrology explains all of this. All of this. And what I mean is, right now in the United States, today, 2/22/2022, is the US's Pluto return. And for people who don't understand astrology, I know that means like absolutely nothing. Probably sounds a little scary. So I want to dive into it for a second. The planets rotate around Earth, right? So we know the sun goes around, or the Earth goes around the sun every 365 days. In astrology, about 360 days, because it's a circle and 360 degrees in a circle. So technically the sun moves 1 degree a day. So the sun goes around every 360 days. Then we have planets like Jupiter, which goes around the sun every 12 years, and Saturn, which goes around the sun every 30 years. So as humans, we go through a solar return every year. It's called our birthday, when the Earth gets back to the same place it was at the time of our birth. Jupiter goes around every 12 years. So as humans, we go through a Jupiter return every 12 years. Jupiter is the planet of blessings and abundance and luck and expansion. So every 12 years, we get this blessing in our life. And then Saturn rolls around every 30 years. So from our birth chart to about 30 years later, when Saturn gets back to the exact same point in the sky it was on the day of our birth, we go through a Saturn return. Happens between the age of 27 and a half to about 30, 31. Depending on your year, and the universe is always expanding. It's a whole thing, but I'm saying in about 30 years. And Saturn returns are points in our life where we completely transform as humans. Saturn is the planet of tough love, of discipline. He is our reinforcer, the karmic planet. He really just wants to help you grow and mature. He throws obstacles and challenges and lessons your way. Illness, death, like all the hard things in life come from Saturn. So when we have a Saturn return, it is a moment where we need to grow up. We need to overcome our challenges. We literally become our own parent. We are no longer a child anymore. That happens at about 27 and a half. So think back to your life. Did you change a lot in that period between 28 and 31? I usually tell people, don't get married before your Saturn return, because after that, you'll be a totally different person. What you want out of your life, what you expect, who you are will change. So let me know if that's true for you. And right now, Saturn is in Aquarius. So if you have a Saturn Aquarius when you were born, you are going through your Saturn return right now until 2023. So I wish you luck. I know it's so challenging, and I might do an entire podcast episode on your Saturn return because it's a really challenging part of your life. So then we look at this planet called Pluto, right? Like I said, the US is going through its Pluto return. Pluto is a massive planet when it comes to energy. It is so far away from Earth that it takes about 265 years for it to come back to the same point it was in the sky at any given time. So humans, we do not go through a Pluto return, but countries do. Countries go through a Pluto return. And if you look back in history, all major civilizations and empires crumbled at about 250 to 300 years. Ming dynasties, Aztecs, the Romans, Greeks, all these amazing empires fell at about 250 to 300 years during their Pluto return. And the US right now is going through its first ever Pluto return. Where Pluto was on July 4th, 1777, Pluto's back. He is back and he's in the zodiac sign of Capricorn. And on 2/22/2022, it is exact. It will be exact approximately 3 times this year. The first one is today, 2/22. The second one will be around the 4th of July, which is kind of nerve-wracking. And the last one towards the end of the year. And this is because of retrogrades. So essentially, Pluto is the planet of power, manipulation, control, transformation, like destroying things, major destruction. And we can see that happening in America right now. Pluto is transformation, like death and rebirth, like everything's got to crumble to ashes so we can rebuild and rise. It deals with power, like manipulation, that like control aspect of life. And we're dealing with that right now in the US. This need to control, the media needing to control, people needing to control. And we're already, as humans, as citizens of the US, citizens of the world, realizing that we don't want to be controlled anymore. We don't want to be told what time we have to show up to work. We don't want to be told how often we can take vacation. We don't want to be told that we can't go home to tend to our sick children, right? We don't want to be told that this is how we should spend our money, right? A lot of people are wanting freedom from the power that's been controlling. And this is very interesting because right now in society, power is falling. It's falling hard, right? It used to be that teachers had power over the students. That's not true anymore because you can learn so much from social media that the student becomes the master, sometimes more than the teacher, because the teachers sometimes only follow a protocol or what they've been taught and they don't keep learning. I see this so much when it comes to healthcare. Doctors get their license and they never learn anything more. They just have their practice and they do the things and they never learn more. And then you have a young, brand new doctor, fresh out of medical school, but is hungry for information, hungry for research. And they research and learn, and they're learning stuff from 2021, 2022. Whereas the doctor who's been in practice for 20 years, who hasn't really kept up to date because they have the credentials, they have their practice, they have everything they need, only has information from what they learned back in 1980, right? So this is the student is no longer victim to the teacher. The boss is losing power over the employee. People are getting their own businesses. They'd rather be entrepreneurs. There's so many more ways for people to make money. So the boss is losing power over the employee. The government is losing power over the people because people now have access to so much more information and freedom and all the things they want to do. The truth is being revealed. Banks are losing power over the financial system. Banks used to rule everything about our money. How much money we could borrow, how much money we could get on credit, what the interest rate would be, all these things. It's not the case anymore. Crypto's rolling around. We have so much more ability to determine our own financial health than going to the bank. People aren't even trusting banks anymore, right? I want to invest in crypto, NFTs. I mean, there's so many more things happening that this concept of someone or something having power over you is falling. And Pluto rules power. Pluto also, like I said, rules like the ego. And we're noticing this like thing in society where like people don't care about what they used to care about. Before it was like, oh, whoever had the biggest house and the nicest car and the luxury bag, they must be like the best. But now we're starting to value people who can travel, who have a family, who have things that are of value to them besides material goods. So Pluto return in the US is not happening on one day and all of a sudden, boom, the US completely changes. This is a process. Civilizations crumbled over years because they couldn't get their act together. And civilizations crumble during a Pluto return because typically there's a divide in the people, revolution. We see civil wars. We see countries really falling apart because all their institutions, all their structures, all the things that make it a country are weak or have fractures or need repair. And it doesn't happen overnight. So, in astrology, when we see this, we know it's not happening anytime soon. This is going to get worse before it gets better. As people wake up, as people acknowledge, as people start to understand, like, oh crap, we are in for it. This crash that everyone's talking about, the financial crash, right? Like we're in inflation, it's at an all-time high, and that, the banks are giving out so much money and homes are so high and cars cost so much. This is not going to be your typical financial crash of 2008 because we are now in a Pluto return and things are so much more serious. Things are so much more drastic. What's going to happen in the upcoming years is going to be something that no one's been through before. This is going to be intense. And as astrologers, back in 2020, right before COVID hit, all the astrologers said, uh-oh, something big is going to happen. We could see it in the planets. It's been talked about for hundreds, if not thousands of years. I wonder what's going to happen. No one could predict exactly it would be a virus, but they knew it would change the world forever. Same thing with right now. The astrology and the way it's looking, like we're seeing this. This is happening. And we have to know about it and be prepared for it. So one of the biggest things, like I said, is the money situation, financial crash, all those things. The difference is this time we have crypto. We have, all these different tools that we can take our own money and climb out of it very differently. Before, we had to rely on the government and the banks and the interest rates and the this and the that. Not anymore. People have access to so many more tools and resources. I can even see people going back to bartering because they don't want the government to take taxes and they don't want the government to be like in their face and know everything. So people might go back to bartering services. Hey, I'm really good at this. You're good at that. Like let's help each other out. It might get that bad financially that we can't even buy things or pay for things because the inflation is so high and we're being controlled. Remember, Pluto control, Pluto power. We are trying to be controlled and manipulated, that you might go to bartering services. Also, looking at food shortages. This is a really big deal, you guys. You go to the store and you don't see food on the shelf. So we're going to be subjected very shortly here to eating whatever we can get. So growing your own food, making sure that you have healthy, organic food available, right? Because this is what we're going to talk about on the Zoom. When there is a food shortage, the food that is available is usually not very nutrient dense. It's not very healing. It's not very fresh. It's things that need to be stored, and you're going to have to eat it. So how is your body going to respond after a short amount of time of not eating fruits and vegetables or healthy food or nutrient-dense foods, right? Our bodies are already exhausted, depleted. I mean, that's what got us in this whole pandemic in the first place because we're not healthy as a country, as an individual, like in the world. So now we're going to go through a food shortage where you're going to have to eat even less healthy food. Big deal. We're going to talk about that more in the Zoom. And then energy, like blackouts. This is something that has been talked about for a while, that we're going to have some sort of energy blackouts. And this I cannot talk about right now. We're going to talk about it in the Zoom. But there is some foreshadowing of that kind of situation. So again, the astrology is showing a divide in people. I think we're already recognizing that. We're already noticing that people are having two completely different opinions. You have people way on the left, people way on the right, people very pro, people very anti. That is only going to get worse. So I call to you to not fall victim to the divide. If someone thinks differently than you, if someone has a different opinion, it's because of what they learned through the media, what they've been manipulated to believe, what their, history, their upbringing, their whatever. And that's it. Give them grace, give them patience, hear them out. The only way that we are going to come together as people to fight against the things trying to take us down is if we stand together as one and realize that we all want the same thing, right? We all want love. We all want the ability to have our family. We all want freedom of choice. It's really the biggest thing, you guys. Freedom of choice. You can choose what you want to put in your body. You can choose what you don't want to put in your body. You can choose what healing modality you want to follow. You feel convicted that going to your regular medical doctor is for you, go. But if you want to have the choice of going to an acupuncturist or a holistic doctor, you should also have that choice. I am pro freedom of choice. Everyone has a different perspective. Everyone has a different way about them. Everyone is allowed to find what works for them because we are so unique. We are so individual. Like, no one should have that taken away from them. So when someone is so opposite from you, don't let it trigger you. Don't let it mess with your energy. Hear them out. You might actually learn something. And if all you learn is why they think the way they do, that's enough. It's not to make you think like them or to make them think like you. It's just to hear, oh, that's where they're coming from. Interesting. I never would have known that. Because we are going to go through a civil war revolution kind of thing. We're already seeing it. People are moving to certain states based on their belief systems and how they want to live their life. It's already starting. Parts of America are going to be specific populations of people, even more so than it is now. So I'm going to just kind of wrap this up now, talking a little bit more about the healthcare situation, the healthcare crisis that we have going on. This is really what I'm going to talk so much more about in the Zoom. And again, if you have questions, like please bring them to the Zoom. I am so happy to give you guys details, facts, information, resources, like where I'm getting all the things from and passing that on to you. But like I just mentioned, we know food shortages are existing. We know that we have gone through this pandemic and that people have been sick and that people have been unhealthy and that there's pre-existing conditions and that as a nation, we are not healthy. And now we're about to go into food supply shortages. And all that's going to be left is not healthy food. On the flip side, we know that healthcare is crumbling. Nurses are walking out of their jobs, you guys. When they say that there's not enough hospital beds, it's not because there's not enough beds. And it's not because there's too many sick people. It's because there's not enough employees. There's not enough nurses to take care of those beds. And this is a big deal, you guys. This is a big deal because people are going to die from things that they shouldn't die from. Appendicitis. You get appendicitis and you go to the doctor, you go to the hospital, and there's not enough nurses and doctors to take care of you. You could die from something so simple. That's scary. This isn't even about a pandemic anymore. This is about the pure fact that if there was ever a time for you to get healthy, it is now. Because we are not going to have the food to heal our bodies. Organic fruits and vegetables, leafy greens, organic meats, like things that actually heal in medicinal food ways. You're not going to have access to that. And then you're not going to have access to healthcare like you want because there's not enough employees. And on top of that, our healthcare system is a sick care system. They're not there to prescribe things to make you healthy, right? And people are going to start losing money. Remember the financial markets, they're going to come crashing and people aren't going to have money. Are you going to be able to afford your prescriptions? Are you going to be able to afford if you get cancer? Are you going to be able to afford your insurance? What if you lose your job and you don't even have insurance? You guys, if there was ever a time to get healthy, it is now. It is now. Because you have the power to heal yourself. You have the ability to start getting your body as fit and healthy as possible because you're going to need it the next couple years, you guys. It's going to get rough. Things are going to change and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. Don't you want to go into this healthier than ever? With energy, with less toxins in your body? We live in a toxic world. There's no way around it. In the food, in the water, in the air, in our building materials, in your carpet, in the Wi-Fi towers planted next to your house. You guys, our bodies are going through war every day with all the chemicals and all the environmental toxins and all the things that our magical bodies can tolerate. But don't you want to help it? Get rid of some of those toxins. Do a cleanse. Do a detox. Get your liver running better. You guys, everyone's liver sucks. We all need some liver love. If you drink and you feel like hell the next day, it's because your liver is so burdened. It's our master detoxer. It detoxes everything out of our bodies and it's exhausted. Get your liver healthy, right? Get rid of some heavy metals that are clogging up your brain. Get rid of some parasites and different bacteria and viruses that are very, very weak, but they're still impacting your overall health. This is the time to get healthy. And we're, like I said, we're going to talk so much more about this in the Zoom. I know I'm being really vague and I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point, but there's so many things I can't say that I want to say. And the last thing, and I'm just going to touch on this again, this is something I'm afraid of getting censored over, but I'm going to say it. If you got the shots, no judgment. Like I said, freedom, you do you. If you felt like you researched and you learned everything that you wanted to learn and you got it and you felt better and you had less fear and you got to live your life, great. So many people I love and care for did that. I didn't feel the need to do that. I also couldn't do that because of my immune system and my mold illness and all of that. But because I couldn't get it, I knew how important it was for me to get healthy, to stay healthy, to be very cautious about what I eat, cautious about my environment, things like that. So if you did get the shot, I want you to remember that how many you got in this last year, whether it was 1, 2, the booster, whatever, every time you got that, you got sick. Your immune system thought it was being invaded by the virus, right? Because that was the point of it, right? It was to give a response to the body to create antibodies. Do you know how much work it is for our immune system to make antibodies? It only makes antibodies when it thinks it's being attacked, and it needs to create antibodies to attack back. That is an entire process of our immune system that takes so much effort and energy to create antibodies. So every time you got the shot, your body went to war. Your body fought. Your body thought it was sick and it created antibodies. So technically, how many times you got shot is how many times your body went to war this year. So chances are your immune system is tired. It is exhausted. And that's why you're probably picking up every little bug left and right because your body's tired. So this is why it's now even more important to get healthy, especially if you got the shot. You have to repair your immune system. You have to rebuild your body back up. And the reason you got it in the first place is because you were worried about your health, right? Most people I know that got it because they were worried that if they didn't get it, they would get sick really bad. So let's go back to the beginning and do what should have been done a long time ago and get healthy so we don't have a fear, so we can be strong, so that our body has the resources it needs to fight a good fight to anything, from cancer to the cold to allergies in your backyard, right? So that is my call to action. And I can't believe I just talked this much, you guys. Like, it's a lot. And thank you so much for bearing with me. I know I probably said some things that are really triggering to you. I probably said some things that like made you go, what? But thank you for holding on and listening and hearing me out. Because I think we just need more of that, of hearing people out, knowing that people's hearts are pure and that everyone is just trying to share what they believe is right. And thank you for trusting me in believing that I'm right or wrong, or believing that I have good in my heart and that I'm sharing this information to help. So thank you for holding on this long. And I really just want to end this with saying that like my mission moving forward is just to help people become free and sovereign beings. Whether that is through astrology and helping you make sense of your chaos, because we can look at your birth chart, we can look at your chart and your partner's chart, and helping you guys make sense of your lives and your chaos using the planets as a guide. Or whether that's me being able to help you in your health journey and helping you take back control of your health, get rid of some toxins, reboost your immune system, like figuring out in your life, what can you do at an affordable rate to change your entire physical body? or energetically. If we need to do some energetic healing, there's some past trauma, there's some stuck emotions, there's some things that you've been holding on to, and we need to release them and balance that through chakra clearing, energy balancing. I'm here for that too. But I just really want to be on this mission to help people become free, to get the resources that they need to heal, and to not stay quiet anymore. So I have been on a mission in the last couple weeks to put together an online course, something that's been very near and dear to my heart for years since I got really, really sick with the mold illness, and I could not find out how to heal myself fast enough. Every single day, and when you are sick, and you have brain fog and you can barely stay awake and you have a lot of fear and you have a lot of anxiety and you're going to all these doctors and there's no answers and another round of blood work and another test and another doctor and nobody is telling you what's wrong, I know how difficult it is to try to become your own advocate, your own doctor, your own researcher when you're sick. And you don't have time to find out all the information. What I've learned in 10 years would take someone at least half that, 5 to 6 years. And when you're sick, you don't have 5 to 6 years. So I'm going to be dumping everything I know about holistic health and healing in a comprehensive online course on how you can start your own holistic health lifestyle. We're going to talk about how to find a holistic doctor. What's the difference between a Chinese medicine doctor, an acupuncturist, an Oriental medicine doctor? Like, I'm going to tell you all the different doctors that are available and the difference. What questions to ask when you go into your doctor? What lab work should you be asking for? We're going to talk about making your own health binder and how you can be your own advocate and get your own information. I'm going to go through everything in your life and how you can do it holistically, from your cleaning products to your beauty products to changing out the types of fruits and vegetables that you need. There are some fruits and vegetables you should have organic always, but there's other ones you don't need to spend the money on organic, right? I'm going to talk about, everything in your environment, in your home, from your air, are you using air purifiers, to different water filtration systems, to carpet versus tile and people with allergies, mold. We're going to talk about mold illness. We're going to talk about really interesting healing modalities that you probably didn't even know existed, from red light therapy to coffee enemas, to different types of acupuncture, to brain stimulation therapy, the benefits of infrared sauna. We're going to talk about some testing that you probably didn't even know that you can do that gives you so much more information besides blood work, live blood cell analysis, thermography scans. Like, you guys, I'm dumping everything I have ever learned and everything I've ever known into this online course for you. Bear with me. It's probably going to take me at least 2 months to create as I process it, put it all together, record the videos. But I'm doing this for you because my mission is to help people get as healthy as they possibly can to lead up to the next couple years that we have in store for us. From what I see in the astrology, what I feel intuitively, what's being already said by financial experts and economic experts, it's time for us to have the power within us to change our health and to determine our future. And that's what I'm here for. And that's what I commit to. And it's hella scary. So I know I'm going to post this. I don't even want to listen to it back because now I'm just already having that internal struggle of oh my God, did you say something that was bad? Are they going to take this down? Are they going to flag you? Are you going to get banned? So if that ever happens to me, you guys, I'm still around. Follow me on YouTube. Make sure you follow me on more than one platform. So if you follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me on YouTube, or make sure you're on my email list or something, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep speaking this truth. If you live locally to me in Tampa, I'm doing so many more in-person events, some at a higher price point that are going to be more workshops where it's a whole afternoon. We're going to do some overhauling of your energy, of your health, and then smaller workshops where it's just going to be sound baths and at a cheaper price point. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. I'm going to do more of these, in my opinion, IMO episodes. Just not sure on what yet. I'm thinking I might do a mini series, 3 parts on what is making you sick. Probably things that you don't even realize in your daily life that you're coming into contact with that are depleting your health. So I might do that. If you're interested, let me know. Also, we are in the Holistic Soul Sister Facebook community going to be doing a really fun event, a party of sorts for the next new moon. So the new moon in Pisces is on March 1st. So we're going to be doing a really fun community event where I'm going to be launching some giveaways. I want to give away so many great things to my community, my holistic soul sisters, things that are going to help you heal holistically, things that are going to help you grow spiritually. So I'll be announcing that in the upcoming week. Hopefully, you can attend our party. And the giveaways are going to come from different ways that you can help get these messages out. And one of them is going to be by sharing this podcast. So if you love this episode, please screenshot it, post it on your social media, tag me at holistic.soul.sisters or mandy.rose1111. And every time you share either one of my podcasts, one of my YouTube videos, share my profile, share a piece of content I put out, you're going to get points and you're going to be entered into the giveaway. So thank you for helping me share this message. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for hearing me out. And I really hope you enjoy this episode. So I would love to get your feedback. If you leave a review, you're also going to be entered into the giveaway. So if you haven't done that for me yet, that would mean the world to me. I've been doing this podcast forever and I have like no reviews. And that's because I don't ask. So please do me the favor and show me that it actually matters that I come on here raw, unfiltered, and share everything I know with you guys. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I will catch you guys in the next episode. See you over on the IG or the YouTube or the Facebook or maybe now even the TikTok. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I have a TikTok, The Relational Astrologer. See you guys over there. And again, for that Zoom link where I can talk way more raw and in depth, I'm not going to be announcing that publicly. So if you are a part of our Holistic Soul Sister Facebook community, I am going to post it in there. If you're not part of our community, join us. I put the link in the show notes here, or just hop over to Facebook and type in Holistic Soul Sisters private community. It'll pop up, request to join. I'll accept you, and the link's going to be in there. If you don't have Facebook, I will be announcing it in the newsletter. So if you're not a part of our Holistic Soul Sister newsletter, just send me your email, either on DM in Facebook Messenger or over on Instagram. I send out newsletters with the events that are coming up, stuff about astrology, about holistic health and healing. So it's a lot more of like the behind the scenes. So that Zoom link will be announced and I will be hosting it by the end of February. So I hope you can join us on there where I can dive way more into all this stuff, really raw and uncensored. So until then, keep healing holistically and growing spiritually. Catch you guys in the next episode.